Welcome to the week ahead for financial markets. Mike Smith, Head of Client Education and Training and Senior Analyst with you to lead you around things which may be moving sentiment this week. Interesting few things to consider, of course. And as always, what we're going to do is we're going to look at 5 market moving factors for this week that could influence where markets go next. Of course, what we saw last week was markets holding support after the recent pullback. US equities have retraced from those record highs. Some evidence of sector rotation out of tech into other sectors. But of course, the good news from last week is the US government are now open for business. There was a healthcare cave-in by some Democrats, which was enough to get things open again. And of course, the major question now is what happens next now the dust settles, not only on healthcare, but also a few other policy issues. The Epstein situation is front and center of headlines, and of course, we've still no data, although there is potentially chance of some catch up on the jobs data later on this week. We do have the Fed minutes due also this week. We may get some clarity on the likelihood of an early 2026 rate cut potential. Pretty well priced in that we'll get a cut in December, but of course, it's telegraphing that's important. The markets had priced in initially a potential cut in January, but that may be under threat. And those minutes may give some guidance, as will the various speeches of some of the Fed members through the course of the week. Of course, we are at the back end of earnings season, which has been a significantly strong one. We have 82% beating EPS expectations, around about 76% beating revenue expectations. But we do have some big names due this week, notably Nvidia, due on Wednesday after the bell, and some of the big retailers like Target and Walmart finish off the earnings season with a bang. And one of the other big stories that we've seen over the last few days is crypto under pressure. We did talk about this during the course of last week, but we saw Bitcoin smashing through 100,000, key psychological level. Let's just check out the chart right now. And you can see here we're down currently at around about 94,650. This represents a low not seen since May, so 6-month lows for Bitcoin. There's that breach at the back end of last week. Over the weekend, there wasn't much movement to the downside on top of what happened on Thursday and Friday. In fact, all of last week, we saw that move back down to test 100,000 and then threw it like a knife through butter. So perhaps we shall see further selling. It does appear that this 94,000 level is quite important. If we look back at May, there was quite a lot of price consolidation around there before we got the move up. But that move is significant. If we breach that, then we could see us back down somewhat amazingly back into the 80s. We are actually in their market territory in Bitcoin right now. Of course, you can join us on our live market updates through the week. We have these streaming on Goto Webinar and YouTube Live on Monday and Thursday at 12:30 p.m. We've also got our Inner Circle Wednesday evening, which would be great to see if you can make it along. And of course, our support team is always available to talk for platform and account assistance, although we can't give personal financial advice on those calls. If there's anything we can help you with, we will be delighted to do so. Most importantly, have a great week ahead.